He needed to stay calm because his body felt like it wanted to rush into battle. Hunter Sung wondered how Jinwoo had even gotten to the island. Gun-hee was very curious about that too. How could Jinwoo have arrived on the island full of ants without anyone noticing? But those things weren't the main point. What really mattered was that Hunter Sung was there. Because he was, there was still hope for the other hunters. Those two things were all that mattered. That's when Gun-hee stared in surprise, as he watched Jinwoo pull shadows from the bodies of the ant monsters, to make even more soldiers. That young man wasn't telling the truth. It wasn't just 100 monster helpers. There were at least 300 of them, even by a quick count. Still, Gun-hee didn't seem upset, or like someone who had been tricked. He actually smiled. He explained that he wanted to battle magical creatures. Now Gun-hee understood why Jinwoo had said that before. With so much strength, Jinwoo would not be scared to fight any magical creature. He actually seemed very excited, and anyone watching him would feel the same way. So why had Jinwoo said no to joining the Korean team at first? It seems like something else important came up. Gun-hee nodded, agreeing with this idea. A man who looked like that would have joined the hunting team, if he faced magical creatures. Gun-hee wondered why Jinwoo wasn't joining them. Suddenly there was a loud noise. Gina, who was studying in her room, went to the living room to see what happened. "Mom," she called out. "I'm sorry," her mom replied. "That was really loud, wasn't it?" Gina shook her head. The music had already been turned down low so she could study, and she didn't want her mother to worry. "No, it's fine. But what's the matter? Is the TV not working? It just stopped. Where is Jinwoo?" "He's here." Her mother looked surprised. "Oh, where did your brother go?" "He was just here." Gina shrugged and opened the door to Jinwoo's room. Jinwoo, he wasn't in the bathroom either. After looking everywhere in the apartment, Gina asked her mom, "What were you two watching?" "The Jeju Island raid." Gina suddenly felt worried as she remembered the apartment building had been quite loud for a little while. Could something be happening? She quickly ran back to her room and turned on her phone. As she did, yes, loud cheers filled the building. Gina was surprised by what she saw on her phone. Jinwoo. As soon as he defeated the ants in their home, Jinwoo sent his helpers back into his shadow. Not all of the ants sent across the island had come back. So Jinwoo thought it was most important to get the hunters to a safe place before they met any more monsters. Some of them were hurt. So he walked over to the group. Everyone except Yoonho and the person filming looked really bad. Haejin was still not awake, and the other 3 hunters were seriously hurt. "Where is Hunterman?" Jinwoo asked. Yoonho sadly shook his head and didn't answer. Jinwoo used healing potions to help the hunters feel better. He needed to give them the healing potions because they wouldn't work if he let go. He gave one, then another, and each hunter started to feel better. What Taeju said as he sat up and checked himself over. But Jongin and Dongwook's injuries were also getting better. Jongin was very confused and didn't understand what was happening. He looked at Jinwoo with a puzzled expression. "Hunter Sung. Why are you here? Let's talk outside." Oh, Jongin looked around at where they were deep inside the ant cave and nodded. It wasn't a good place to talk. "Master Sung." Dongwook, who could see again, grabbed Jinwoo's hand tightly. "You were the one who fought the ants, weren't you?" "Thank you." "Thank you so much," Jinwoo said to Dongwook, and Dongwook said the same to him. "Let's go talk outside." "Okay," said Dongwook. Haemyo was last. Jinwoo frowned as he knelt beside her. Something is strange. She doesn't seem very strong. He felt worried and carefully gave Haemyo the potion to drink. A message appeared right away. It said healing potions couldn't fully restore your health if you were very close to losing all of it. Jinwoo looked down at his hand after pulling it away. He saw it was covered in blood. That annoying creature had hurt him. The monster had seriously hurt one of the best hunters in Korea with just one hit. The other hunters weren't saved because of their own strength but because the monster was playing with them. Jinwoo looked determined. But first, helping Haeyeon with her injury was the most important thing to do right now. She really needed to leave the island and find a doctor because magic potions weren't helping. "Let's go quickly." Jinwoo carefully lifted Haeyeon and held her. The other hunters also stood up, as he quickly tried to get everyone out of the queen's home. Jinwoo breathed out a long sigh. Yoonho understood why. Jinwoo gave Haeyeon to the guildmaster, who looked surprised but took her. "I will help you," he said. Jinwoo looked at everyone, and clearly said, Please do not get involved. It will be quicker this way. Jinwoo, are you saying? Jongdin started to speak, even though he didn't completely understand what was happening, but Dongwook shook his head and stopped him. Though he hadn't seen it himself, Dongwook could feel everything Jinwoo did to the ants from beginning to end. Jinwoo was right this time, but Juno was still concerned. Hunter Sung, Jinwoo looked at him. I know how powerful you are. I likely understand this as well as anyone. But Yunho looked very serious. He asked if I had called forth too many creatures already. I didn't understand why that would be a problem, and stared at Yunho, seeing my confusion. Yunho quickly explained that I had probably used up a lot of energy already. What will you do if you run out of power? Jinwoo finally understood. From what Yuanha said, other hunters who used summoning magic needed a lot of energy for their spells. They didn't need to know that summoning his shadow soldiers didn't use up his energy, did they? His shadow soldiers definitely didn't look like ordinary helpers. Jinwoo thought carefully about what to say. My helpers don't use much energy, so there's nothing to worry about. Really? What? Yuanhos and the camera operator both said at the same time. Jinwoo didn't need much energy to summon all those helpers. Did this man have any flaws? Jinwoo glanced toward the cave opening to stop talking, and right then he saw ants running inside. There were so many. One of them was hurt, so they didn't have time to lose. Jinwoo used his special power, Monarch's Domain, to make things happen faster. The ground below him began to turn very dark, but before he could call forth his helpers, a scary wind blew into the cave. What was that? Jinwoo tried to find where this bad energy was coming from. It was one of the ant monsters. Even though this one looked like the others, it was definitely different. It was him. Jinwoo quickly realized it was the Ant King. The Ant King also saw Jinwoo and slowly walked toward him. Human, you have a lot of energy. He spoke using Riji's voice, remembering the scary dream they had just experienced. The other hunter stepped back, but Jinwoo stood firm and stared angrily at the beast. The Ant King stopped right in front of Jinwoo. Are you the leader of the humans? I can't believe a bug can talk. The ant's face became very ugly when Jinwoo said this. Using the power he got from the queen and the strength he gained from predation, the Ant King used all his magical power to make himself grow bigger. He was about the same height as Jinwoo at first, but he quickly grew much bigger, 1.5 times Jinwoo's size. He roared as loud as he could, right in Jinwoo's face. Skiare apaya 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 apaya. Jinwoo didn't even flinch. He smiled instead. You're finally starting to look like an insect. Then, he released his own powerful energy. We can't reach Goto. President Matsumoto looked very pale. His assistant gave him a headset. Do you want to hear this? President Matsumoto quickly took the headphones and put them on. The worker played the recording. And you seem very powerful. Are you the king? King. Yes, I am the king. Mr. Goto. Oh no. Osh. Yikes. Ugh. What exactly are you? Beep. We couldn't hear anything after that. President Matsumoto was very surprised as he took off the headphones. Strange noises and scary sounds from the magical creature led him to a surprising idea. Could the ant actually talk like a person, and had it been responsible for what happened to Goto? This wasn't what they expected. They had planned everything carefully, so he wondered how things had gone wrong. His hands started to shake a little. Sir, President Matsumoto quickly hid his hands when he noticed his coworker was looking, and he changed what they were talking about. Where is the magical creature that could talk? He didn't want to mention the creature that had hurt Ryuji. It is gone. Gone. The creature had been strong enough to hurt Ryuji, so how could they not find it with their special camera that finds magic? The employee pointed to the screen as if he knew this question was coming. That light shows where the magical creature's magic is. The camera showed magic as light. The larger and brighter the white spot appeared on the screen, the stronger the source was. When Ryuji's and the Japanese hunter's lights went out, the biggest, brightest spot disappeared too. Oh no, President Matsumoto said with worry. The enemy was very good at controlling its magic. That's why, because it could. This is why the research team hadn't noticed it before. It was a total failure for them. Japan had suffered a great loss. 10 of their best hunters were gone, including their most powerful one. This was a very high price to pay for one mistake, and they worried about what would happen next. What if that terrible magical creature crossed the ocean? President Matsumoto couldn't stop worrying. But just then I found it. It's shown itself. President Matsumoto's eyes opened wide. Where is it? It's in the queen's lair. There the Korean hunters were battling waves of creatures. They were managing to hold on, but this new creature was unlike anything they had ever seen. It seemed they were in serious trouble. That's what President Matsumoto thought. But then he noticed something strange. Another light suddenly appeared near the frightening beast. What's that? President Matsumoto was shocked. He turned to a member of the research team, who shook their head in disbelief. I've never seen such a strong signal before. It seemed to be as powerful as, or even more powerful than, the magical creature's signal. But even more surprising were the hundreds of tiny lights around it. The lead scientist on the research team, who had watched many videos as part of their job, had never seen anything like this before. Wow! They were amazed as the smaller lights kept breaking away from, and then returning to the bigger light. President Matsumoto did not have time to be amazed. Is the Korean team recording the attack? Since the Korean team was still safe, the show was probably still on. President Matsumoto really wanted to know what was happening. Let's see the Korean broadcast on the big screen. Right away, a picture of a man fighting an ant showed up on the large screen. President Matsumoto pointed to. He felt nervous as he looked at the man's face. A drop of sweat ran down his forehead, and onto his chin. Was this man the one making all the lights work? In front of him was a magical creature, much bigger than a normal ant. President Matsumoto's heart beat very fast as he felt the ant's strong presence on the screen. He was surprised. Just then, the ant made the first move. The ant king punched Jinwoo in the face. Pow! It was a strong hit that almost made Jinwoo fall backward, but he stayed standing by digging his heels into the ground. The ant had used all his strength with that punch, but the human had taken it easily. You blocked my attack. The ant was trying to seriously hurt Jinwoo, but his punch only moved Jinwoo's head to the side. But there wasn't time to be surprised because Jinwoo quickly threw a punch. Whoosh kapow! It hit the ant right in the face and knocked him into the wall. Bam! The wall broke like something huge had crashed into it. For a moment the whole cave shook from the hit. What kind of ant talks so much? People watching were surprised to see a message on their screens saying there were technical difficulties. The hunters, what happened to them? What was that ant just now? Is this real? How could they stop the show right now? A giant magical ant suddenly appeared, and the hunters couldn't fight it. People watching who were happy the queen ant was dead, were shocked when the winged magical ant attacked the hunters. The person hosting the live video came on the screen. We have some new information. The host sadly told everyone that Hunter by Ungunman had died, and that they didn't know what happened to the other hunters in the ant cave. This is terrible. The hunters killed the queen, so why are they dying? What about the hunters from Japan? Wasn't this a team effort with hunters from different countries? What is the Japanese team doing? Some people were angry, others were worried, and some were very sad. The news that the hunters might not survive, even though they were bravely fighting magical creatures, spread quickly. Even though the video signal was lost, more and more people started watching. Oh, the host's sad face changed to a brighter one when they received an important message. A hunter we don't know has arrived. We will show the live video again soon. That announcement gave the tired audience new energy. Soon, the video was back on. What? Oh my goodness. People stood up from their seats when they saw images of shadowy soldiers on the screens. The soldiers were fighting against a large group of ants that kept coming into the queen's home. The camera stopped moving wide to focus on one person. It was difficult to see who it was because the camera was too far away. Someone said that the armored soldiers were helpers of the hunter we were watching. I am also hearing that most of the other hunters are safe. The worried crowd cheered when they heard this. They began shouting words of support at their screens. Defeat them all. Yes. Win. Let's go. Just then, one of the hunters who hadn't been identified called for many new soldiers. These soldiers quickly started fighting the ants. Wow. Everyone was very excited and raised their hands in the air. People who wanted to get even for family or friends, lost to the ants, were very happy to finally see this happen. The person in charge spoke louder, like they had been waiting to share this news. We just found out who the hunter is. Everyone listened carefully to find out more. Who could this man be? Who was the hunter who saved the top-ranked hunters from a dangerous place filled with powerful magical beasts? It was Jin Woo-sung. one of the strongest hunters in Korea. He uses magic to fight, and is especially good at summoning creatures to help him. People watching were very excited that this amazing hunter wasn't from Japan. They watched in amazement as he quickly defeated huge groups of monsters. But as the group of hunters almost escaped the cave, they were stopped by more ants. What is that? It's the ant with wings they had seen before the video stopped walking out from the group. Ants with wings were still rare, and this one looked different from all the others. The ants back at the colony were confused. What is that? Is it still alive? Wasn't that the monster that defeated the hunters before? Why did it come back? The winged ant stopped right in front of Jinwoo. Hunters who knew about different types of monsters were worried. Oh no, he's in trouble. How could a hunter who uses magic let a monster get so close? He should run away while he still can. This monster had knocked out Heian, a strong fighter, with just one hit. The result was already clear. When the ants suddenly got bigger, the worried crowd started to get scared. People shouted as things happened. And then boom. Those who were easily upset closed their eyes, expecting the giant insect to badly hurt the hunter. But strangely, Jinwoo was okay. What? Hunter Ma, a strong fighter, was knocked down with one hit. But a magic hunter survived. The crowd was shocked. But then crash, the ant was thrown into the wall. The viewers had trouble understanding what just happened. But when the camera showed the Ant King stuck in the wall, yes, they cheered loudly again. Wow! The cameraman was amazed. He had felt sick when the ant first attacked, because he remembered how powerful it was when it attacked Hunter Chash. But even though this was the same ant that easily defeated 6 of the strongest hunters, Jinwoo had defeated it quickly. The person filming was very surprised and shouted, "Were the other strongest hunters not very strong? No, that didn't seem right." These hunters had fought very bravely and skillfully defeated the most dangerous ant queen. It was really odd that the giant ant had been able to defeat them, and even stranger that Hunter Sung was able to knock the creature unconscious with one punch. The person filming felt very excited, and had to swallow to calm himself. The other hunters felt much the same way. Everyone was watching Jinwoo, but Jongan quickly looked around the cave. Ant bodies were everywhere. He first thought other hunters had fought them while he was out. But looking at Jinwoo now, he wondered if that was true. Did Jinwoo defeat them all by himself? His eyes moved quickly as he counted the bodies. A loud screech echoed through the cave. Jongan turned toward the sound. The Ant King was very angry and struggled to get out from under the rocks and dirt. The room felt full of nervous energy. Jinwoo looked closely at the ant, confused. It hadn't been hurt as much as he thought it would be. Was it because of its outer shell? The tough covering all over the ant's body was stronger than anything made by living things that he knew about. Jinwoo knew he had to use all his strength. He needed a big powerful weapon instead of his usual knives. His shoulder and arm muscles grew large, and the air felt thick. The Ant King finished his loud roar and showed his teeth as he turned to face Jinwoo. How rude. They quickly moved closer and closer, until they were standing right in front of each other. They hit each other hard, not holding back. Bang, boom, whack. The other hunters were surprised as the cave shook from the powerful magic. Waves of energy made even the strongest hunters feel unwell. Are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. The person filming was not as strong as the others, and was trying hard not to feel sick. He looked pale, but he kept smiling because he saw something amazing. Boom, Jinwoo was getting hurt too, but the Ant King's shell was starting to break. The beast noticed these changes. Click, click, the Ant King's armor, which was harder than any metal, was starting to crack. But Jinwoo seemed to be handling the ant's attacks. Could it be? A surprising idea came to the Ant King. Was he actually weaker than the human, even though the human was much smaller than the magic beast? Sadly for the Ant King, that was when a loud crack sounded. The ant felt a painful hit on his side, that didn't feel like the others. His outer shell didn't have any nerves, so he looked down to see what was happening, and saw something surprising. It was broken. There was a crack, and it was getting bigger, like a spider web. This showed he didn't have much time left. He quickly looked back at the fight, but Jinwoo wasn't new to this and wouldn't miss a chance while his opponent was distracted. Crash! The beast's head turned to the side. What? He stumbled back because he felt the hit even through his strong face armor. He almost fell after a punch hit his chin. Thud. The ant's head moved back. This smaller creature is... The ant looked up angrily as his head was lifted. This human was strong but mostly relied on force. The Ant King had some dangerous attacks ready. As soon as the Ant King lifted his head, he shot out a poisonous needle on the end of a long, flexible part of his body. It was a quick attack aimed right at the enemy's face. The human quickly moved his head to avoid being stung, but the ant was happy he almost hit. The small thorn had poked the person's cheek. He got him, that should be enough. The Ant King had eaten cone snails and learned a new ability from them called paralyzing poison. The strongest poison made by any animal was combined with his magical energy to make a very powerful venom. The Ant King made a dangerous poison using a special ability. You have been difficult. Even a small scratch from this poison would quickly stop someone's nerves from working. This would cause them to lose control of their body.